Hi, and welcome to Intuitive Insights. On this channel, we discuss everything to do with the ascension process. Today, we're going to be discussing the full moon in Scorpio, which is taking place on May 7th, 2020. And so I want to say first, welcome to all of our subscribers. Welcome to anyone who's new. So glad that you found our channel. We have all kinds of different videos to do with the different energies that are at play and how those affect us and how we can utilize those energies to move through this ascension process with as much ease and grace as possible. So I encourage you to go through and check out some of those other videos. And we're gonna get right into the full moon in Scorpio. So speaking of other videos, anyone who has not watched the Pluto retrograde video, I would highly suggest that you do, because the energy of this full supermoon is very, very much tied into the Pluto retrograde and the Pluto energy. We have Pluto being the ruler of Scorpio, which makes it the ruler of the full moon. And that power is enhanced by the fact that Pluto is actually making a sextile to the moon. So that enhances that connection. It's a very electric connection. There's a lot of mental energy and focus in that connection. So we're really being called to focus on the emotions. We're being called to focus on all of that shadow material that's been coming up for revision. All of those desires, those wants, those needs that are being exposed by the Pluto retrograde, and which, is all the domain of Scorpio, right? We're being asked to really delve deep into that. Scorpio is the sign that is about raw emotion, right? It's about going deep. It's about stripping everything down to the bare bones, leaving no stone unturned. And so that's what our emotional process is like right now. We're digging deep into our subconscious. We're digging deep into all of the obsessions and the compulsions and the patterns that we act out, and like what's underneath all of those patterns, right? And we're digging into the deepest recesses of ourselves, of our souls, of our hearts, of our minds, and just seeing what's under there. And being given a chance to release what's no longer serving us. When we talk about full moons, we're talking about the process of releasing, right? It's the full culmination of everything set in motion from the new moon. And it's the ability to release what needs to be released, what needs to go, as we go through this cycle of manifestation. Actually, as I was saying that, I was thinking, I guess the full moon isn't the culmination, because it's part way through that cycle before we get to the next new moon. So really, correcting myself here, it's the halfway point in that cycle. It's the point where our energy is, though, the most focused and the most intense, right? And so we're able to, with the intensity of that energy, look at the things that have come up during this first segment from the new moon until the full moon, and see what we need to release and what we need to let go of, so that we can complete our cycle without being hindered by those things. So that's the moon cycle that we're in right now. And, Scorpio is all about releasing. Scorpio is about getting down to the nitty gritty. It's about getting down to the bare bones of a situation. Scorpio is a very raw sign. It's a very real sign. It's a very emotional sign, right? And so with a full supermoon, our emotions are intensified already. Everything feels larger than life. So this energy is going to feel very much larger than life. It's just going to swallow and engulf us. And that's what it's meant to do. We're meant to be engulfed and swallowed up by our emotions. We have also the Sun and Mercury still conjunct. So this adds a mental energy, right? It adds a lot of mental energy, although it's grounded in the sign of Taurus. However, the Sun is being sextiled by Neptune in Pisces. And so what this is doing is just further facilitating this process, right? It's further facilitating this process of dissolving the mind, dissolving the logic. Like, we're very much being asked to dive deep into that intuitive space, that space beyond words, right? We're being asked to look at and understand our emotions and what they're asking us to do, what they're telling us about what it is that we want and what it is that we need. And so we've talked about this before, like we can't make decisions solely based on emotion, right? Because our emotions are ever changing. It's like the cycles of the moon, the emotions, they shift and they change. However, our emotions are a very accurate barometer of what is in resonance and what is out of resonance. So when we experience an emotional reaction to something, or we have certain feelings that maybe we're not wanting to acknowledge and we're trying to rationalize away because they're not convenient or they don't make sense to us, through this process of doing that, we're ignoring the cues that they're giving us, that are telling us when we're experiencing a negative emotion, something is out of balance, something is not right. And so this full moon is calling us out basically, and forcing us to listen to that voice, to that intuition, to that gut instinct, right? Like Scorpio is very much about that gut instinct. It feels everything so intensely, and it feels it in the marrow of its bones. And Scorpio is led by desire. Scorpio is led by emotion. Scorpio is led by truth. And Scorpio discovers truth through the barometer of the emotions. And so this is the journey that we're on right now, is dissolving the logic, dissolving the reason, not being in that place where we're able to rationalize things away, and just sinking into a very visceral experience of like, what do we feel emotionally? How do we feel about our lives? Not what do we think about our lives, but how do we feel about them? And if we don't feel good about them, what are we willing to do to change that? And so, yeah, this is a highly intense energy. It's when we talk about so we're talking about the unknown, right? We're very much sinking into the unknown. It's very much like that moon card type of energy too, right? And so we're being asked to abandon our reason and our logic and to just be led completely by our emotions, by our intuition. And so this is also key when we're talking about not making decisions based solely on logic, right? Like logic is there to serve us, but we can't allow that to be the driving force in our lives. And we can't allow ourselves to forego the way that we feel and the things that we instinctively, intuitively know to be true simply because they don't make logical sense. So spirit exists in that place that doesn't make logical sense. In order to make room for spirit to work in our lives, we have to be willing to allow that space beyond logic to exist. We have to allow spirit to come in that place that, that's where it resides, in the unknown, in the stuff that doesn't make sense. Like, that's how spirit works. So if we want spirit to work in our lives, we have to open up to that, and we have to allow it to do that. And we have to find, the entire year of 2020, there's many major themes that we have going on, right? And so one of the major themes that we talk about a lot is this balance of the intuition and the logic, and how they work, how they can work together, right? And so right now, the part of the lesson that we're learning is how to abandon the logic completely and sink into that intuitive space, that nice, juicy, that mysterious intuitive space. And we're receiving a lot of help with this. We also have a sextile going on between Pluto and Neptune, and this has been going on for a little while. So what this is doing, what this has been doing, is just taking us deeper, right? So we have Neptune, which is the planet of illusion. It's the planet of consciousness, right? Like universal consciousness, everything that's unknown, all of that mystical type energy, like we talked about, Neptune is the great dissolver. And so when Neptunian energy comes into play with Plutonian energy, it's just taking us into the deepest parts of our subconscious that we can possibly go, so that we can really find out what's going on in there. And so this is also, and this isn't just for the full moon, this energy is ongoing, going to have us really interested in looking into these mysterious aspects of life. When we talk about spirituality, we talk about, death, we talk about just all of these concepts that are and these ideas and these things that are beyond the comprehension of the human mind, right? And so we're really in this place of wanting to explore all of that, the occult, everything, the paranormal. Everything inside of that realm is very much opened up to us when we have Neptune and Pluto speaking together. And so that energy is underwriting all of this and giving us an extra boost to go just a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper and really dissolve all of our barriers, dissolve everything that stands in the way of us really getting in touch with those deepest and darkest recesses of our soul. And so that's a pretty exciting and it's a heavy energy, right? It's a super intense, heavy energy, but it's really assisting us in this process of revealing everything that needs to be revealed. And sometimes that's revealed in the midst of confusion, and we have a lot of Neptunian energy. There can be a lot of confusion around. There can be this desire to want to escape. However, with all of this Plutonian energy, escapism it's just not a possibility. We can't run from ourselves right now. We are absolutely being asked to face ourselves. And that's how illumination occurs, right? So it's a good thing, but it can feel, frightening and just unnerving, right, at the time, but it is a really good and beneficial thing that's happening right now. And so we have, in addition to the trine between Pluto and Neptune, and the trine happening between Neptune and Mercury, which would also I consider the sun in there because Mercury and the sun are still loosely conjunct. So I feel those energies kind of as one, right? Which also I want to say is causing us to look, especially when it comes to our patterns of thought, our obsessive patterns, our patterns of thinking and perception that are hindering us. This is coming on the heels of the 5-5 portal, which gave us a lot of new perception and downloads and understandings. I would definitely suggest that you guys check out that video as well. So we're definitely especially having a look at our thought processes and the dissolution of our old thought processes and ways of thinking and perceiving, right? But then we also have a sextile going on. Just trying to think and remember here. We have a sextile going on. We have, let me check here at my notes. Sextile, Neptune and Pisces. Well, there's another one going on somewhere. Basically, we have a whole group of trines and sextiles happening between Pluto, Neptune, the moon. Oh yes, that's what it was. Between the moon and Pluto are making a sextile. And so that is bringing in also just really intensifying that scorpionic energy. It's really intensifying that Plutonian energy. It's just bringing us into a deeper, bringing us and reconnecting us to everything that's going on with the Pluto retrograde and just really emphasizing that Plutonian energy. That's what I was just trying to cover right there. So yeah, we have, not a lot, just some stuff going on with all of that. We also have some other energies present. We have both Mars and Venus making a sextile to true black moon Lilith. And so this is very interesting because it indicates that we're also going to have a lot of shadow material being uncovered as far as the relationships and the relations between the masculine and the feminine. And it's significantly the wounded feminine, the repressed and suppressed feminine energies. So we're going to be looking at the way that men and women interact with each other, all of the toxic forms of behavior in relationship to each other, and sort of the way that our own relationship with our inner feminine and with the other feminines in our lives is influenced by these inherited toxic behaviors, that we've sort of these learned behaviors, right? And these collective toxic behaviors, and how the relationships that we had with the feminines, perhaps with our own mothers, the relationships we have with ourselves if we are female, how those play out in our outer relationships, how we manifest traits of that, and what aspects of that we're ready to move beyond. Like, do our behaviors reinforce this sort of wounding of the feminine, this repression of the feminine energy, or do they help to uplift the feminine energy? And if they don't, how can we make changes, or do we want to make changes that help to support the feminine? And we've been in a period of massive healing around the feminine for quite a while. And so some of those issues are really coming up. And it's a sextile, so it's very energetic, mental energy being put into this. So this could manifest in issues with the opposite sex, but it could also just be something that's really on our minds a lot, something that we're really thinking about and sort of pondering. And some of the ways that we play into those negative interactions are maybe coming to the surface, and realizations may be occurring, and possibly why it is that those relationships play out the way that they play out. What is our personal wounding that is facilitating that? And how can we move beyond that? So, yeah, that's another interesting energy. And then we also have Mars squaring the moon. And so this is fascinating because to me, it felt sort of like underneath all of this other energy that we have going on, we also have this sort of understanding of our own mortality. And this feeling as though we're starting to realize the things that we want and the things that we need and the things that matter to us that we can't avoid and we can't pretend don't matter any longer. And the places where we're out of resonance and we want to get back into that resonance with ourselves, right? And then we're realizing that we only have so much time to do this in, because this mortal life is only so long. And so maybe feeling a little bit of pressure around that as well as just having our will and some of the things that we want to accomplish being contradicted by all of this emotional upheaval and all of these truths that are surfacing, and trying to figure out where those truths fit in with the things that we're trying to achieve in our lives. So we're gonna leave it at that for the energies, because that's a lot to be thinking about and trying to understand and wrap our heads around. But it's absolutely a very transformative full moon. And I think that we were going to get right into the cards here and see what they have to say. So we're going to grab a couple Moonology cards first, as we usually do. Guidance for this full moon in Scorpio. Guidance for the full moon in Scorpio. Guidance for the full moon in Scorpio. Well, this is interesting because we've had some of these similar cards before. So we have Believe in the Impossible coming up again. So this is the Blue Moon card, the Once in a Lifetime card, the All of Our Hopes and Dreams card. This is possibly feeling discouraged at some point, and feeling this is the logical mind, right? Like we were talking about, the logical mind that's trying to talk us out of things or tell us that things doesn't make sense and that we should avoid certain things in our lives, or that certain things aren't meant for us because they don't. It's getting stuck in that place of logic instead of giving spirit that room to work in the mysterious, right? And so this is just reminding us to believe in the impossible, to know and understand that nothing is actually impossible. And the things that we want for ourselves are not beyond our reach. And then we have, going with this, we have look at the bigger picture. So there's a bigger picture developing here. Some of this stuff, and that's how we look at the bigger picture, right? It's when we get out of that logical mind and we allow spirit to work, and we know that spirit is working with the bigger picture. Like there are aspects to the situations that are going on right now in our lives that we can't see and that we don't know. And so this card is asking us to surrender to the divine and to allow to allow that process to occur and to allow spirit to work for us on our benefit, and to really, in all of these situations, to know that there's always something larger going on. And so it's reminding us also to really be able to look at the lessons that are being shown to us, to look at a situation from not trying to judge or understand another person's actions, but to try to judge and understand our own actions. And so what is it in us that's causing us to react in a certain way? If we have a reaction to a certain situation, what is it that I must believe is true in order to be having this emotional reaction? Right? That's one way that we can start understanding the beliefs that underlie everything, is by asking ourselves questions like that. So it's looking and it's knowing that the situations that have occurred for a reason, for our soul growth, and to look at everything from that point of view of soul growth and expansion. And to understand, we talk about this all the time, like when we feel as though we've been sort of like, something hasn't worked out in our favor and we're upset about that, or things aren't going the way that we planned them to, or, whatever it is that's causing us to be in this space of resentment and discouragement, is just knowing that everything had to happen the way it happened for a bigger reason. And there's a greater goal to it all, which we may or may not understand just yet, but like it's just flowing with that. Also, not getting stuck up in the little details, not getting caught up in the small details. That's once again, like the logical mind likes to be in those small details, right? But it's not about all the little details. It's about the bigger picture. And this is also about manifesting. When we want to manifest something, we don't try to figure out all the little ways that it's going to work, right? That's control. And right now we're being asked to surrender control, to surrender to the divine, which is the full moon card, right? And so it's about letting go of all the control of all the little things and how they're going to play out, and instead focusing on what it is that we want overall. What is the end result that we're looking for? And focusing on that instead of how we're going to achieve that. That's another message that I'm getting with the look at the bigger picture, which is the full moon in Sagittarius, which is all about exploring, expansion, travel, opportunity, our belief structures, our spirituality, our own personal spirituality forged from our own experience. And we've got the bow too, the bow and arrow, which is a representation of Sagittarius, right? And so that's making me think also of the manifestation process. Yeah, so I think that this is definitely a call that as far as wanting to manifest things, it's looking at that bigger picture instead of all the small details of how it's going to happen. And it's believing in the impossible and having that belief and that faith that what you want can and will come to pass. And we talk about the manifestation and the creation process a lot in the 5-5 portal video. So as I said before, I definitely encourage people to check that out. Because we go into all of that, and I'm not going to get into it right now, like that process of creation. But yeah, there are definitely people watching this right now who may benefit from watching that video. And then we have luck is on your side, new moon in Sagittarius. So we have the full moon and the new moon in Sagittarius. And so this is really interesting, right? So we have the intention and then as it's coming closer to manifestation. So somebody definitely set an intention here. They definitely have a desire, they definitely have a desire, and it's in the phases of creation right now, right? Like the cycles of the moon you see on the back of this card, right? There are cycles and phases and steps to this creative process, and that intention has been set. That arrow has been cast, and it will find its mark, right? And so, yeah, I think that's really cool that these two cards both came out, and it's luck is on your side. Like everything is working out. You just got to keep believing in the impossible. You have to keep believing all possibilities are possible. And as we also like to say a lot, like everything is all happening in another dimension or reality. All possibilities are already existing. So all you're doing is just shooting and aiming to bring in that other possibility that's already in existence. And we also have you and your loved ones are safe. So if anyone is worried about their loved ones, if they're worried about the effect that different things set into motion are going to have on their loved ones, this is a reminder that, and you see again, we have the crab right under the moon, right? Which is the sign for Cancer, because this is the new moon in Cancer card. But it's anyone who's worried about their loved ones in any situation right now, they are safe and they are cared for. They are safe, they are cared for, they are loved. And sometimes, like, we do what we can do to protect people, but we can't protect people from everything. And this goes back to looking at the bigger picture, is like, everyone came here with their specific lessons to learn. And those lessons, like, we can't shield people from the lessons that they're supposed to learn, and we can't shield people from disappointment or heartbreak. And just because we think that we know the way that everything is supposed to go doesn't mean that that's necessarily what's supposed to happen. We all came into this life with an understanding of the way that events were going to unfold for our soul growth. And that includes anyone that you may be worried about in your life. And so this is just a reminder that they are being cared for, that everything happens in that perfect divine timing and divine order. And like, believing in the impossible and going after your goals, if they are true to your soul, is never harmful to others. It is never harmful to others. What is harmful is holding ourselves back and living a life that's not in line with our truth. And so once again, it all goes back to the surrendering to the divine. Surrendering to the divine. Surrendering and understanding that everything is happening in perfect order. And then we also have nothing is yet set in stone, mutable moon. So this is just a reminder that all possibilities are possible, and that we may think that we know exactly how a situation is going to play out, and that it's, we are in this place of non-belief, right? With this belief in the impossible it hasn't necessarily been working out for us, and we're in that place of like, no, pretty sure I know how this is all going to shake out. I'm pretty sure I know what my options are and what they are not, and I just have to surrender to that and allow that to be what it is. And this card is saying that's not necessarily true. We don't know everything. More is going to be revealed to us, and we can, just because we think we know how a situation is going to happen, we think we've seen all the variables of what there could be. Like, there is so much more possibility out there than what we can now understand. And then we have meditate and contemplate. Meditate and contemplate. Oh, these just keep coming. These are all perfect. And then work through your fears. So this is the Scorpio. This is a Scorpio new moon card, working through your fears. And so, yeah, we got in a lot of new moon cards. So we have a lot of energy right now as far as this manifesting energy, this bringing in the new, right? These new cycles, these new phases, these new opportunities. There is so much possibility. There is so much opportunity here. As if we work through our fears, if we do what this full moon is asking us to do and work through and are honest with ourselves and understand where it is that it's not even logic necessarily that's holding us back. It's fear. Underneath everything is a fear, right? When we're looking at these blockages, there's a fear there. So it's working through those fears. It's being willing to understand what those fears are, to have compassion for ourselves, but to know that they're no longer, it's no longer necessary to live our lives governed by fear. And we surrender to the divine. Always come back and surrender to the divine. Meditate and contemplate. Be in that place of inner stillness where we can hear our own voice. The meditate and contemplate card has the two fish. It has the Pisces fish, right? So it's Pisces is that union of the spiritual. It's the union of the spiritual and the physical, of the duality, the dual aspects of ourselves. And so that's what we are doing during this process as well, is by facing all of that shadow stuff, we're bringing it into the light. We're having that unification of those aspects of ourselves, and we're working through this process. Pisces is also in its lower vibration about victim mentalities, right? So we're working through these victim mentalities. We're working through these, where we are having these situations and these memories come up, or maybe these situations that trigger these memories of being victims, and realizing that we don't have to be a victim anymore. We don't have to be a victim anymore. We don't have to be a martyr anymore. We don't have to compromise who we are, because we are meant to be who we are. We are meant to be fully who we are. And if we are in any situation where we cannot fully be who we are, then that's an invitation to invite in that divine energy to help to change that, to help us to step into our authenticity and to step into our soul, right? And our full expression of our soul. So it's very much this card with the meditate and contemplate, I'm also feeling as the full expression and balance of the aspects of our soul. And then we have the supermoon card. So that's the closer for the Moonology deck, I think, which is absolutely perfect because this is the full supermoon in Scorpio that we're experiencing right now. So that's emotions are running high. So that's, we have full moons, which is intense energy to begin with. And then we have the supermoon, which is when the moon is the biggest and the brightest and the closest to Earth. So it's just amplifying all of this energy. I mean, we're in like a pressure cooker of energy right now. And in order to release that energy, we surrender, we meditate, we contemplate, we believe in the impossible, and we know that luck is on our side. Luck is on our side. There's always a bigger picture, and we don't have to understand what that bigger picture is. But everyone that we love is safe. We are safe. We are being cared for, and we are being guided. We just have to allow ourselves to listen to that guidance as it's coming through. And so we're going to do a card from the Ascended Masters deck. Clear. Scorpio full moon. Scorpio full moon. Okay. Well, this is interesting. We have Radha, soul flame, rediscover a lost part of yourself, experience relationship, harmony, and healing. And then we have Krishna, trust your spiritual guidance. Your commitment has been recognized. You are loved unconditionally. And if I am not mistaken, these two are twin flames, Radha and Krishna. Yep, they are twin flames. So we have counterparts here. We have the divine masculine and the divine feminine energy. So we're having a chance, and this came up with and we also have Lady Venus here on the bottom of the deck, which is downloads and understanding. Truth is being revealed. Deep insights are coming from heaven and the astral realm. And so we're having an opportunity to connect. It's rediscovering lost parts of ourselves, coming into harmony and balance. And I'm seeing the fishes again as well when we were talking about the Pisces fishes, coming into harmony and balance with ourselves, and that bringing in the energy of our twin flame, whether that be in the physical, if we have a physical twin flame counterpart in this lifetime that is being brought in, or maybe not even brought in, but we're getting to a deeper level of understanding of our relationship with them. And by doing that, we're getting into a deeper level of understanding of our relationship with ourselves, right? Because what they really are is a reflection of our relationship with ourselves. And so we're getting a deeper understanding of that. There's healing coming in around that, whether that's healing in the physical or whether that's just healing within ourselves. And which, of course, when we heal that within ourselves, that often brings that in the physical as well. But it's this healing of that relationship. And if we have not experienced a twin flame relationship in our physical reality, we have one within because we have both of these energies within us. So it could be a healing of the ways that our masculine and feminine energies within our own selves have been conflicted, which we kind of talked about when we were talking about how we have Venus and Mars making the sextiles to the true black moon right now. So that's definitely an energy that's coming up. We're learning how to be more compassionate with ourselves. We're learning how to be more compassionate when dealing with others, and we're understanding. And so when we talk about twin flames, we're talking about that mirroring, right? So even if it's not a twin flame relationship or experience, we have that experience with everyone when we see them mirror back a part of ourselves, and we're understanding, and that's seeing the bigger picture too, right? Is we're understanding how everything and everyone is a mirror. And so we're sinking deeper into the understanding of that. We are, it's also saying trust your spiritual guidance. So the Krishna card is also very much about the acknowledgement of the work that we've done, like the higher spiritual acknowledgement of the work that we've done, even if we feel as though we may have not been recognized for that, or we're doing all this work and we're not being rewarded. It isn't being seen by the people in our lives. Like the divine is acknowledging that, and the divine knows that you are doing the work and you will be rewarded for that. And so, and the rewards, right? Like the most important rewards are that sense of peace and balance within ourselves, right? But there are more, as we gain that peace and knowledge within ourselves and that self-love, right? Then that begins to ripple outward and manifest in outer events and circumstances. And so we just attract more and more abundance. But your commitment to your spiritual path has been recognized. And I mean, for some, this is definitely calling in that soul flame energy. It's definitely, there's healing around that. There's healing around that, and there is understanding. There are, downloads and understanding coming in around that. And there are deeper insights into that relationship, whether it's the relationship with ourselves or with a counterpart, a twin flame, whatever you want to call it. We're getting to a deeper level of understanding and compassion, and just being able to see that bigger picture and to understand how they were there to help us grow, and to understand, those relationships can be very painful. They can be very tumultuous because there's just so much being revealed to us about ourselves, right? It's that super, super intense mirror. And so it's just, we're getting insight and guidance in that process and understanding why things happened the way that they happened. And for some, there is a reunion of that energy that's very much, we've been feeling, I think, for a little while, even though I don't necessarily directly talk about it all the time. It's definitely been there, at least a healing. Deeper downloads and understanding about ourselves. Like this goes back again, it ties in with the energy we just had in the 5-5 portal. And it's just, we're still receiving downloads and understandings, not just about our masculine and feminine energies and any interactions and how we interact with, others in our outside world, but also just more downloads and understandings about all of these different aspects of ourselves that are being revealed to us, and these new perspectives, right? And then we also have Freya phases and cycles. There is a beginning within every ending. Illusions are revealed and released. So every time one door closes, another door opens. Sometimes one door closes and a door that we thought was closed to us forever opens back up. You never really know. And it's, we are reborn, and we have a new chance to reinvent ourselves every time something ends. For a lot of people, there are going to be a lot of massive changes happening in their lives. I mean, as our internal world shifts, our external world shifts to match. So it's also just letting us know to embrace those things, and that there is, once again, it's seeing the bigger picture. There's a higher purpose for all of that. And then, illusions being revealed and released, all of those, you know, this card it's the moon card, and we can see this has a very Scorpio kind of feel to it with the crow here, right? Like a darker, not like a dark in a bad way, but like it's that revealing type of energy, like we're revealing and we're understanding things. Illusions are being revealed, and the illusions are the illusions that we have in our own minds, right? Our illusions are the distortions in perception that we create. And so we're starting to see beyond some of those illusions. We're starting to see the truth, and the truth can be painful sometimes. Sometimes it just catches us really off guard because we thought we understood how things were and we thought we had come to terms with things, and then we realize that we haven't, and that there's still healing to do, and that maybe we didn't, like, our understanding of a situation was not accurate. And we're starting to see through this Scorpionic energy, through this Plutonic energy, how our own perceptions and our own wounding actually plays into the way that we perceive situations and distorts our perception of those situations. But once we understand that, there's a deeper level of healing that can occur. And we also have White Eagle Ancestor Spirit. Connect to your lineage. A family wound or pattern can be healed now. And so we talk about this all the time too, like, right? Like healing our ancestral lineage. About the cultures that we were born into and the societal norms around those cultures, and how sometimes we're born into a culture, we're born into a family, we're born into a bloodline, so that we can heal the dysfunction within that. We can heal some of the karma for them. And how do we do that? We don't do that by acting out the same cycle in the same situation that's been acted out over and over and over again. We do that by choosing a new path, by being that change that needs to be seen. We heal that energy by moving into and creating a new storyline. We heal the old storyline by creating a new storyline. You know, we open up a new book. And so this is, there is a family wound or pattern that can be healed right now. And the choices that we make, the choices that we are intuitively being guided to make, even if they don't make sense, have a higher purpose. And that's part of seeing that bigger picture too. They have a higher purpose of healing the wounds in our ancestral line, healing the wounds in our families, you know. So we can absolutely expect to be tapping into some of that energy as well. And through liberating ourselves, we liberate others. We liberate our ancestors. And that's an absolutely beautiful thing. And now we're going to do a couple tarot cards too and see what the tarot has to say. Clear. Full moon in Scorpio. Full moon in Scorpio. I am not reading reversals unless they are very clear, Spirit. Full moon in Scorpio. Full moon in Scorpio. Okay. All right, so we have death, which is, of course, the card for Scorpio. It's the card of rebirth. It's the card of allowing what is ready to die. And this doesn't mean physical death. Most of the time, these cards are metaphorical, right? So it's a metaphorical death. The death of the old self, the birth of the new self. The death of the old cycle, the birth of the new cycle. And so this is very much this transformational process that we are in right now. We're going through this metamorphosis. There's so much that we're having to release and let go of so that the new can be born. And if we're not ready to release and let go of that, we have the Tower. And so the Tower is going to come in. The Tower is course correction. The Tower is divine intervention. The Tower is removal of the things that no longer belong by force. So it can also be an epiphany or a change in perspective, a massive shift in perspective, right? So we're in this process of rebirth. We're in this process of realizing what needs to die and what needs to be let go of. And if we're willing to do that, we have this insight and we allow that process to unfold. That can happen very smoothly. If we're not willing to do that and follow the insights and the realizations that are coming in, the tower is going to come in and remove what needs to be removed for us. The tower is also, it's Mars energy, it's Uranian energy, it's Plutonian energy, it's all of that. It's just spirit coming in and saying, okay, like, here's the guidance. If we don't listen to the guidance, it's spirit coming in and saying, okay, this needs to go. We don't have time for this shit. It's time to move forward. It's time to it's time to leave. It's time to go. It's time to shift. It's time to change. But we have that coming out with the Ace of Swords, which leads me to believe that more than a catastrophic outer event, this is going to be, the Ace of Swords is clarity of thought. It's clarity of mind. It's inspiration. It's a new idea. It's a new cycle of the mind, right? And so we're definitely, like we talked about, this full moon is leading us to understand our minds better, right? It's leading us to have these new insights. It's taking us out of the way that we normally think and plunging us into our emotions, plunging us into this death energy, right? This rebirth energy. And so we are going to have flashes of insight and clarity. So I'm feeling, people, don't be too alarmed. I'm feeling for a lot of people, this is going to be, the tower is going to come in the form of an epiphany or an understanding that is going to lead us to action. The Chariot is forward moving action and momentum. The Chariot is, when we climb onto the Chariot, we've decided on a destination and we intend to reach that destination. And we have all the intention to move forward. We have the intention to move forward, but we also have the wounded warrior here, the Nine of Wands. And so the Nine of Wands is this energy of someone who's been through some battles. They've done some shit. They've seen some shit. They're a little bit wary. They're not easy to trust. They are, you can see he's got the bandage on his head and he's kind of looking out there like, oh, fuck, So it's the Chariot. We have this intention. We have this desire to move forward, but there are still wounds that we're worried that are holding us back a little bit, that we want to heal or that we need to heal. And so there may be this still a little bit of push-pull over, like, do I move forward or do I not? Like, I have this understanding. I've gone through this process. I know what it is that I want. I know what's important to me. I know what I need to do, but like, fuck. Like, can I do it? Should I do it? Like, will I do it? And so, but the thing about the Nine of Wands is, like, he has absolutely everything that he needs. I mean, he has all of these beautiful wands behind him, right? He has all of this spiritual power and this spiritual potential, and he's been through these battles and he's come out triumphant, even if he has been a little bit battered and bruised. And so he has absolutely everything he needs within him to do the things that need to be done. It's just like knowing that and understanding that in himself. And then we have, and all of these, I'm not really sure of the order here, but we have an old cycle, or a cycle coming to a close, right? The world is the completion of a cycle. The world is also, it's abundance, it's everything, right? So it's this completion of a cycle, but it's also, it's making way for a new cycle, right? Okay. A new beginning, a passionate new beginning. That's what the Ace of Wands, that's the Ace of Wands energy. And so it's wrapping up one cycle, stepping into a new cycle with all of the wisdom that we've gained from this full experience that we've had, and boldly moving into this new era of our lives, right? Where we can have this passionate new beginning. This is passionate love. This is creativity. This is spirituality. This is just bursting with potential, right? And we have the World card, can also, especially when paired with the Chariot, can indicate travel. So there could be some traveling going on here, traveling involved. Technically, I guess we're not supposed to be traveling right now, maybe. So take that for what you will, but that's a feeling and an indication I'm getting from the cards. But it's going to require overcoming this. This is like the final hurdle right here, is this wounded warrior energy. And so we apply the death process to that as well, right? This Scorpio new full moon is really helping us to look at all of these areas where we hold ourselves back. All of this our subconscious programming, the way our perception can be skewed or can skew what we see and what we experience, and how we can move beyond that. How does our mind work in ways that are not beneficial for us, and how can we change that? How can we move beyond that into something better? How can we allow our mind to be our servant and not our master? Because that's what our mind is meant to be. It's meant to be our servant. It's meant to help us to follow the callings of our soul. It's not meant to dominate us. We are meant to, I don't want to say we're meant to dominate it, because that makes it sound just a way that I don't want it to sound, but the mind is there to serve us. And so that's coming to grips and coming to an understanding insight, right, over how it is that our mind works against us, and how we can help our mind to work for us, and how our past wounding is holding us back from the things that we truly desire, and holding us back from embracing happiness, because maybe we think that we're afraid that we don't deserve it, or that we're not going to have it. I'm being drawn to the Devil card right now, which is on the bottom of the deck. And so this came up as well in the Pluto retrograde video. And it was interesting. It came up with the Death card, which at the time I didn't notice, but this is Pluto, right? Because it's Scorpio, ruled by Pluto. And the Devil also represents Capricorn, so Pluto and Capricorn. So that was kind of cool. But so the Devil is all about bondage. It's all about all of these thoughts and these behaviors and these perceptions that hold us back from going after what it is that we really want, right? That cause us to not recognize the things that are for us, because we're too caught up in this energy. We're too caught up in questioning. We're too caught up in our compulsive ways of thinking, our compulsive ways of being. Maybe some of us have been caught up in situations that we thought were to our benefit, and they were not, and they are not. And we're having to move out of that energy right now. We're moving out. This is what I'm getting. We're moving out of this energy of bondage, whether this is internal bondage, whether this is an external force that's holding us in bondage. And then we're moving toward this passionate new beginning, this new start in our lives. But we're also a little bit worried that this energy is going to come back in again. So it's about fully facing this energy. That's what we're being given the opportunity to do right now, is to fully face all of that. This is the card of the shadow. It's the shadow. It's the subconscious. It's, working through all of that Plutonian stuff, right? All of that Scorpionic energy, and coming out the other side of that. Like if we look our demons in the eye, if we come to know them, if we come to understand them, and we shed light on all of those shadowy parts of ourselves, they no longer have control over us. They no longer dominate us, and they no longer confuse us, because we have mastered them. We step into a full mastery of ourselves. And so if we are willing to do the work and really look at ourselves and really be willing to allow this process to unfold and to go to those dark places within ourselves that we were afraid to go to before, we don't have to worry about this energy coming in and fucking everything up, because we've mastered that energy. And we know when that energy rears its head again. We know and we understand what it is. And we have the King of Pentacles. So this is being the master of your reality, especially when it comes to a physical reality. So this is incredible abundance. So we have this cycle of complete abundance coming towards us. And, for some watching this could be a masculine energy that is very much a master of their physical reality, who has things of substance to offer. And those things may not all be in the form of money and financial stability, but something of substance of character born through this process of becoming. And so this could be either you coming into this it's wealth and abundance, but I'm feeling it on a spiritual level more than anything else. It could be either us coming into that feeling of abundance and wealth within ourselves, that feeling of security, of knowing, of being this wounded warrior, and then like healing from that, carrying all of the wisdom of that, but healing from that and coming out of that stronger, overcoming all of these energies, right? These devil energies, looking at those, addressing those, moving beyond those into this stable energy here. This is the most stable energy in the entire deck. Yes, so either us coming into that, or perhaps somebody coming into this energy and then coming forward in our own lives. It's gonna depend for everyone, but we do have the Three of Cups here on the bottom of the deck as well, which is reunions. And so I'm being drawn to pull that up too. So it's celebration, it's reunion, it's just really enjoying all of the abundance and all the splendor of life, enjoying these passionate new beginnings, right? These passionate new cycles that are ready to be reborn. As the old cycle dies, the new cycle begins. So it's the culmination of this painful cycle that gives birth to this new cycle of abundance. Once we're able to work through all of this stuff that needs to be worked through. And so that's what we've got for the tarot there. And yeah, I think we're going to leave it at that, actually. I think that was good. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. This is it's just allow yourself to sink into the emotions. Allow yourself to be honest about what it is you feel. Not what it is you think, but what it is you feel. And know that your feelings are a barometer that's telling you what is of resonance and what is not of resonance with your soul. And allow those feelings to guide you. Don't make any snap decisions from that place of feeling and emotion, but just allow yourself to sink into that and see what develops and see what comes up, and just when this shadow material presents itself, it's all about, like I said, please watch the Pluto retrograde video. It's all about embracing ourselves and loving ourselves through that, and just looking at it as a great opportunity to learn more about ourselves and to rise up. It's like, Scorpio energy, Pluto energy is that phoenix energy, right? We're like rising from the ashes, but first we have to burn. And so we're in that process of burning right now. And I mean, we can reach for some water or a fire extinguisher to try to put that fire out, but all we're doing is delaying the inevitable. So just allow yourself to burn and allow yourself to go through this process that's necessary to come out the other side. And that's what I've got for you today. I love you all so very, very much. If you liked this video, please give it a like. That definitely helps. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Click the little bell with the squiggly notifications so that you know when more videos come out. And, definitely comment any experiences that you're having with this full moon. With this energy, we're already in it. We can already feel it today. I'm doing this the day before the full moon, so it's May 6th today. So we're already feeling that energy. It's already amping up and working up. And so any experiences that you guys are having, I love to hear your comments and your different perspectives. And I do offer readings. I offer energy healing sessions. All of that information is in the box below. So please check that out if you're interested in those services. And yeah, I love you all, as I said, so much. And, we got this. We are absolutely spiritual warriors. And every situation that we go through, we come out stronger in the end. So just always know that. Just always know that you have everything that you need inside of you already. And we are in this beautiful process of being reborn right now. And have a wonderful evening. Mwah.